of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. First thing on our agenda is our auditor's financial report.
We began 2021 with a general fund cash balance of $14,988,895, with projected miscellaneous revenue and property tax, and deducting out of there an estimated circuit breaker amount. Our total funds available were $66,739,081. We can deduct from that the 2021 budget, the encumbrances, the minimum balance, and then add in what we expect to be unspent 2021 budget. Our beginning net balance at the beginning of the year was $6,120,963. So far this year, the council has approved additional appropriations to the general fund of $1,920,335. There are $68,000 of additional appropriations requested for this meeting, and with the miscellaneous expenditures taken out, our total funds available as of right now are $4,035,236. The next page is the revenue report for the general fund, and of course, property taxes, they're due tomorrow, but we will not see that money until December is when that's turned over from the treasurer. So that kind of brings down that number. It's not any concern that we only have 56% because that's all coming from the spring settlement. I don't know, I didn't mark anything here in the revenue there's anything unusual. So we are at 69.4% of the general fund revenue estimated for the year at this point in time. Get down to the funds balance. Just a couple of them that I marked of note. 1,000 is the general fund, and we're at $8.6 million at the end of October. And it's a normal month when we spend more than what we take in, with the exception of the property tax receipt months. The next fund that I marked was 1205, which is the tax sale surplus fund, and that you see a $2.8 million deposit for the month of October. We did have the tax sale in October, and when we have the tax sale, the amount of money above the minimum bid is placed into this fund, and then either when the property is redeemed or if there's a deed, then that money moves out. But in the interim time, that money is put into this account, and so we are able to get interest on that money, so there is some benefit to that. But all that money, there may be a few exceptions, but it's going to be turned back over to the property tax either purchaser or the current deed holder, but we do benefit from that a little bit. 4710 is a self-insurance fund. We did go a little bit under our revenue compared to what we spent out. October was the last month that, remember last month we got the approval to discontinue moving the $83,333 a month from this health insurance fund to the general fund because of the need in the general fund was not as much as we budgeted. And so if we hadn't done that in October, we would have brought a little bit more in for October than what we spent out. I think I only had one more fund that I had marked, and that is 8950. Just as a little note, that's the American Rescue money, the $19 million, our first installment of that, and so far we have not spent any money out of there, so that is where that is at this point. And that's all I have in my report, unless there's any questions.
Any questions for Bob?
Just a quick question regarding 8950, the $19 million. I don't know if the commissioners, Tom, I don't know if you'll have a report or can give us a little update during commissioners' update as to where we are with that $19 million. Thanks.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I got a question for the auditor. Bob, the 8950, the one you
Push your
described.
button, John.
Oh, I turn that on today?
Yeah.
Oh. The American Rescue Plan Act. What is that? I'm talking to the auditor.
What is that money?
Yeah, what is that?
That's money that came from the federal government for our share of the COVID relief money for the second half. We had CARES Act money that we got last year, and now the American Rescue, and we will get 2 installments of $19 million to be used for specific purposes that Tom will maybe get into, you know, what we're looking at for what our potential expenditures would be. But we are allowed to take that $19 million. The interest off of that money is now being deposited into the general fund, so there is a little benefit in the interim period of time for that. But
So does that go to the health department?
well, it's for the county to disperse for needs that are COVID-related, and there's some things, some infrastructure sort of thing, not real infrastructure, but
That's a lot of money.
and some internet sort of things that we can move some ability out for people to be able to get the internet they can't
Okay.
now.
Thanks, Bob.
Any other questions? Hearing none. Jennifer sent her report on for the treasurer's report via email. Bob's got it up there on the screen. Are there any comments or questions concerning that? If there aren't any comments or questions, we'll move on into, is there any public comment concerning any of our agenda items for this morning? Seeing none, we have a change in the consent agenda under the parks transfer. That has been changed to just 11,000 coming from the maintenance supplies, building materials, and then still going to the machinery equipment capital. So that 15,000 is completely knocked out, and the 7,000 goes to 11,000. So if that's okay with everyone, are there any other items that look like they need to be removed for further discussion or consideration from the consent agenda? If not, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Mr. President, I move that we approve the consent agenda and the corrections that was made in the Parks Department.
Second that.
I have a motion on the floor from Councilman Basham, a second from Councilman Murray to approve the consent agenda with the change noted in the Parks Department. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Consent agenda is approved. Next up, we have additional appropriations from Superior Court 2. Judge Meyer, I see you're here, but do I have a motion for the pauper?
Yes, Mr. President, I move to approve appropriation of $50,000 from the general fund to Superior Court 2 as indicated.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor from Councilwoman Dolam, a second from Councilwoman Hamilton to approve the general fund appropriation for Superior Court 2 for $50,000 for pauper attorney. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Steve Meyer, Judge Superior 2. I'm here today, actually, I regret that I'm here today asking for such a large amount of money. This is probably the largest sum of money I've ever had. I'm already being condemned for it, right? This year, Superior 2 has done 17 jury trials, and pre-COVID, our top resigned, resigned to take a position somewhere else. Bills for some appeals, about 5,000, 4 or 5,000 sitting on the desk. So I asked for 50,000 because that number gets us up to about 46 or 47. So I asked for 50 because I expect a couple more bills to come in. So I just wanted to give you sort of a breakdown of what that consists of. It's, as I said, it's the largest amount that I've requested, and that you understand and you would approve it. Open for any questions.
Any questions for the judge?
Judge, you still have like 9,000 in there, so you really need like close to 60,000 to complete the year?
No.
Or have you submitted some bills very recently?
The bills should have been submitted recently. That was, so last month, we had like, we did a transfer of 7,500 from the transcript fund to the pauper council fund so that I didn't have to come and ask for that. That, I just checked with Ann. Most of that, those are bills that still need to be paid out of that money.
Because I had ran, you probably can't see that very well, but I ran this a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And it was 89, 88 left. So you think?
That's already committed to other
Okay.
bills. I just checked with Ann this morning. I don't know why those weren't paid yet, but that's what,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That is approved. Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good morning.
Next up, we have the coroner additional appropriation for body transfers.
I'll make a motion that we accept the general fund appropriation of $18,000 for body transfers as submitted.
I second that.
I have a motion on the floor from Councilwoman Vernon, a second from Councilman Murray to approve the general fund appropriation for $18,000 for body transfers for the coroner. Discussion. Good morning, Carrie.
Good morning, thank you. This is just a reflection of how we have been focusing on making sure the deaths are reported accurately in this county, and currently we're at, I think, 880 deaths reported to date, where last year we were at about 506. So we've been able to correct some of the procedures and process, and as a reflection, it's impacted our budget. So I'm thinking this should get us through the end of the year, and we worked real hard for our budget next year, and hopefully you won't see me next year.
Okay, any questions or discussion?
She's currently $14,000 left, so hopefully this 18 plus the 14 will get her through this year, so.
I worked with the auditor's office. We worked off of averages, so it's a guess, but an educated guess is what I'm hoping.
Did you say that the reason we're having higher death rates this year is because we're counting it differently, or is we actually having higher deaths? What's the cause of the increased numbers?
The answer is yes to both. We are having more deaths, but we've also gone back and worked with area hospitals and some other folks to make sure that the procedures and policies are updated, so they are reporting all the deaths that are required by the state of Indiana. So we've made some of those adjustments and just make sure everybody's on the same page. And as a result, we've had more deaths reported to us as well.
Okay,
And-
anything else?
Well, just the other thing of note, I mean, Ben and I have worked closely with Carrie, and I just want to say, again, as you read the cover sheet from her report, again, she, is collecting more dollars, so bringing to the general fund $4,300 for last month versus the $129 from the year before. So thank you, Carrie, for you and your staff being diligent in billing and collecting the money that's owed to the county.
Thank you, Kathy.
Okay, anything else? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That is approved. Next up, we have the appropriation for the sheriff lit public safety for machinery and equipment.
I'll make a motion to approve the Lit Public Safety Fund 1170 appropriation in the amount of $42,697.
I have a motion on the floor from Councilwoman Vernon, a second from Councilman Basham, to approve the Lit Public Safety Fund 1170 appropriation of $42,697. Discussion.
Yep, this actually, as you can tell, is not for a helicopter. But what it is, this is to get our bomb team some equipment to destroy ammunition. Our department, over the years, we take in ammunition from the citizens. Either they find a bunch of old ammo, they bring it down to the department. We've had a lot of times people have passed away, and somebody doesn't want all that ammo, and they bring it in containers, and we have to store it, and eventually we take it somewhere else to have it destroyed. This would give us the opportunity to have it here in our county. We wouldn't have to waste the manpower and resources of hauling it somewhere else.
Okay, any questions or
One of
discussion?
11 bomb teams in the state, 12. So,
And in speaking with the sheriff and speaking with Jason, who was on the bomb team, this is something that, it's for safety of our officers that are taking care of it and handling this equipment. I mean, ammunition or the fireworks. I think there was an incident at one point where someone did get hurt, not from our department, but, so it is a safety issue.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That is approved.
thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Community Corrections salary statement.
I'll make a motion, we approve the 2022 salary statement in the amount of $114,084.
I have a motion on the floor from Councilman Murray, a second from Councilman Basham, to approve the 2022 salary statement for Community Corrections in the amount of $114,084 from the grant that is before us. Discussion. Jason?
I'll try to make this as clear as mud, because that's what it's going to be. So this is our grant that we have for our pretrial program. The grant officially ends this year. However, we have an extra, basically, year's worth of salary still in that grant. We worked with the granting agency as well as with Bob. We're able to continue these positions for another year, given under still that grant funding. So this is just that asked for that continuation for their positions under the grant, and then we'll be back at budget time to ask for those positions full-time from the county at that point. But basically, we were able to extend the grant an extra year.
Okay, any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That is approved. Thank you. Next, we have Health Department, couple of grant appropriations.
Make a motion, we approve the Vaccine Reimbursement Fund 9170 FY21, a grant appropriation in the amount of $207,981.
I have a motion on the floor from Councilman Murray, a second from Councilman Basham, to approve the Vaccine Reimbursement Grant Fund appropriation in the amount of $207,981. Discussion.
So this is what we actually got. We appropriated $80,000 when we did not know the exact amount they were going to get back for the reimbursements for the vaccines. The first payment we got back was $287,981. That's billing through June 30th. We are not sure that the state is still billing. They told us in a meeting a couple weeks ago that they weren't sure that they were going to bill after that. We do have the ability to bill insurance for vaccine administration at a certain rate. So if they did not bill from July to the end of the year, we will actually be billing insurance for that because we do have all that information.
Okay, questions, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That is approved. Next up, we have the Indiana Cares Echo Fund grant appropriation.
Make a motion, we approve the Indiana Cares Echo Fund 9172 FY23 grant appropriation in the amount of $75,000.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor from Councilman Murray, a second from Councilman Basham to approve the grant of Fund 9172 fiscal year 23 grant appropriation for $75,000. Discussion.
Okay, so this is to restart the overdose fatality review team. I think the prosecutor's office had it a couple years ago. They were one of the pilot counties for that, and then funding ran out, and then now we have funding again. We will be working with Carrie in the coroner's office. We will have an overdose fatality review clerk, and there's going to be a team. Several of the team members are in here. Sheriff Goldsmith, Terry Ruley, Jason Huber are all on our Echo Cares team that meets with the state to go over overdoses, and then we will have an overdose fatality review team that will have many people throughout the community and recovery services and the hospital setting. We have Phoenix Paramedic Services that'll be joining the team. So people from everywhere that'll come together and review all of the overdoses in the county and see what we can do better as a county to help combat those overdoses.
Okay, questions, discussion?
Amanda, one quick question. You mentioned working with the coroner's office. Would that person be housed in the health department or be housed in the coroner's office from a physical standpoint?
So she's going to be housed with Carrie, but she's going to spend some time with me getting ready for meetings with the team. So we're going to share her, but she spends most of her time with Carrie anyway, so.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good question, thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that is approved. Next up, we have committee reports. I'm looking at
And this
you,
is, I guess it's
Kathy.
my cue.
Unless there's somebody else that has some
I was
committee
waiting
report.
to see what you would say. So I'm going to take just a quick 3 to 5 minutes to review our Personnel Committee. The Personnel Committee consists of Shirley, our HR Director, Commissioner David Byers, Bob Plantinga, Kevin, and myself. We meet on an as-needed basis. It seems like sometimes there's a sense of urgency right before budget hearings when everybody's doing their last-minute cleanup of their personnel. So I would really encourage each of the counselors, if your department heads are thinking about doing anything in regards to reclassifying or doing any changes in your departments, you do this earlier than later. So earlier means March, April, because things do need to go through our consultant, and the consultant that we have has probably greater than what, Shirley, 75% of the counties, of the 92 counties in Indiana, so they are extremely busy. So, you know, we all want things done right away, and we think that, well, where's the hangup? You know, is it still sitting in the HR department and hasn't been sent to our consultants? And that's not the reason. The reason is it's at the consultant's office, and it's down there with everybody else. So, you know, the thing is to be proactive and try to get your work done early. You'll see an email that Shirley sent to me, and this is the template that the departments have available to them as they're looking at what do I want to accomplish. Am I going to create a new position? Do I think that my person needs to be reclassified? So these are some of the documents that need to be filled out, and there is a proper procedure for doing the reclassification. And I really need to stress that when you are trying to reclassify an employee, there are a couple of forms that need to be filled out. The department head fills the form out as to what the job description is, but then the employee also needs to fill it out as to actually what are they doing. Because as you're trying to reclassify someone, you want to match the duties to the job description. So we have an accurate job description that we can send to our consultant, so then we can adequately score that job to see, does it need to be reclassified and get an increase in pay or not? So that is that's very important, and I think sometimes we forget that piece of it. Also, this is a quote that I think that I have imprint, I think I should have tattooed on my arm, Shirley Menon's quote is, you look at the position and not the person. Because if you want this position to make X number of dollars because this person is in that job, what happens when that person leaves? You're still going to have to pay that amount of money. So that's the one email. And then you can just see the reclassification process, just so that everyone is very familiar with what is the actual process and what do we look at. And Bob, Shirley, Kevin, David, any additions to my comments? Again, proactive is the key word, because this is November, the holidays and the end of the year wrap up, and then all of a sudden it's going to be May, and we're thinking about budget, and it's, oh my, I haven't done my reclassifications or requested my positions. So really start looking at that now. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Good comments. Good reminder to everyone. Any other committee reports? Anything under other business? You have one thing?
Yeah, we've had some discussions, the auditors around the state and State Board of Accounts, and then we've hauled Doug into this little conversation. But there was a change to the statute as far as the amount of salary to be paid to the county assessor and the staff that once they receive certifications. And I think we really kind of misread the statute, and to me, the statute is really kind of confusing. But we had paid $2,500 to our county assessor for attaining a Level 3 certification, and that was kind of a bonus sort of thing. Well, in 2016, the statute was changed, and what the statute now reads is that the county assessor, if they are a Level 3 certified assessor, they must receive at least $1,500 more than if that assessor were not a Level 3. And so it is part of the salary. It's somewhat similar to what we do for coroner and the surveyor. But Doug had put together, and we didn't get this into the agenda, but we need to do something maybe next month if we want to alter the county assessor's salary a little bit, because we have to do that before the year starts. And whether we want to do the $1,500 is what the statute requires. Before it was $1,000, and then they changed it to $1,500, and the way we read it, we added the two together, and that wasn't the way it was supposed to be. I briefly spoke to Eric Grossman about this, and I took it that he was okay with having the $1,500, but I don't know if Doug wants to add to this. He wrote this resolution that is not in the packet, but it's up on the screen, to basically lower his salary by $1,000, and we do pay that extra $2,500 now. The $1,500 would be paid not out of the general fund where his salary is paid, but it'd be paid out of the sales disclosure funds where we have historically paid that certification fee.
Yeah, just to try to kind of clarify, prior, I might get the dates wrong, but I think prior to 2016, the assessor, there was a bonus for certifications, I think Level 2 and Level 3 and it specified you just pay them extra $1,000 if they have those certifications. Effective in 2016, I think, they said they're all going to be Level 2 at least if they're elected. If they have Level 3, you need to pay them at least $1,500 more. There was a transition provision in the statute that made it look kind of like you're supposed to pay them the $1,000 and the $1,500, and so we were adding $2,500 to, I think what we've done traditionally is sort of base assessor the same as treasurer and recorder, and then added the $2,500 because of how we were reading the statute. The upshot is the transition provision isn't mandatory, we don't think. So it just needs to be at least $1,500. The way we've got it budgeted, we have $2,500 above what the treasurer and the recorder make, which is fine as a policy matter. You're allowed to do that. It has to just be at least 1,500 more. In this case, you currently have it budgeted for $2,500 more. What we need to do and haven't done in the past is pass a resolution that just establishes what the two tiers are. So right now, we just kind of have one number out. You don't have, it's sort of ambiguous as to whether that's the whether that's the non-certified or whether it's the certified amount. And like we do with the coroner and the assessor, we say, you know, if you have this if you don't have this certification, it's X dollars, and if you do, then it's X plus however much more. So we probably need to pass a resolution. You can leave it's a policy matter whether you leave it where if you leave the budget as it was, the budgeted amount, then you can just say that the lower amount would be $2,500 less. You could legally reduce the amount you're paying him by $1,000 because that's how much we exceeded what we had to do. So it's up to you. As I have it drafted there, I've got the plus $2,500 amount established for the level 3 certification, and then I think I reduced it by $2,500 if theoretically you had a non-certified, non-level 3.
You reduced it by 1,500, didn't you?
I thought,
Because you got the 77.6 and the
1,500.
Oh, yeah.
76.1.
And what's the treasure?
The 76.1,
Is it? Okay.
I believe so.
Well, no, yeah. All right, well, we can get that clarified. But that is 1,500. I don't know
Yes,
what
the
we,
difference is 1,500.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know
just
what
don't
the
know what we-
others are necessarily.
I just forget what we have them.
And if we're going to go to 1,500, we need to do it next month, obviously.
Right, if you're going to reduce his salary, you need
If
to.
we're
do
going
it
to
next
leave it, then we can just pass a resolution at any point.
Yeah, because, I mean, the fact is that we haven't had this resolution for the first year it came through, we did this resolution, kind of the way we were supposed to. And then for a couple of years, we haven't. So the reality is, you know, the heavens probably don't fall if we don't get this thing passed. But as housekeeping, we probably need to do it.
Okay, discussion, motion, what is the resolution number if we were going to,
Oh,
you don't have one?
yeah.
Okay, so we're not doing any, we're not
Yeah, you
taking.
don't need to take
Okay, so
action.
this is information only. So give some thought as to whether or not we want to leave it at that level or go back down 1,000?
It would, I just throw this
Or,
in, I
I
don't.
mean, do you know for sure, Bob, what the level is from comparing the other salaries of the treasurer? Isn't that who we're comparing?
I can check, I'll certainly have that by next month.
Okay,
But it would be nice to me if the council reps for the assessor would talk to Eric and get his feel
Input on
what
that.
we need to do here too.
so Barry and John, if you would be able to do that, that would be helpful. Okay. So essentially, we're just passing a resolution that would establish that salary level with and without the level 3.
And I'll send this resolution out, and the council has not received this. I'll send this out today to all the council members for them
Okay.
to see, read what it says.
Okay, thanks, Bob. All right, I have next up an update from the Greater Lafayette Climate Action Plan. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me today. If you don't know me, I'm Amy Kristen Preston. I'm the recycling educator with the County Solid Waste Management District. I'm representing, one of the employees representing the county on the Regional Climate Action Plan. This is a 2-year effort. Right now, we're finishing up the first year. It's a joint effort between West Lafayette, and the county. The leadership committee consists of myself, another county employee, Michael Thompson, that's with APC, Margie Deverell, who's a city planner with the city of Lafayette, and Dave Henderson, the director of the West Lafayette Wastewater Treatment Plant, as well as Dr. Lindsay Payne, who is head of Go Greener Commission in West Lafayette. The consulting firm Greeley and Hanson is facilitating the entire climate action planning process. During phases 1 and 2, which sort of happened throughout last year and this year, we developed our vision and mission statements. We identified key stakeholders to serve on our advisory committee. And the advisory committee is made up of approximately 25 people. They're usually specialists in their area of expertise. So, for example, Mike Parks with County Highway is advising us on transportation issues related to climate change. Amanda Balzer, who spoke today, is advising us on health issues in the community. Wes Tillett with Lafayette Urban Ministry is helping us to connect with church leaders in the area. So the advisory committee either specializes in a specific topic and how it relates to climate change, and they also help us to plug into other specialists in our community. We've finished our greenhouse gas inventory for the county-wide community, so the entire greenhouse gas emissions coming from the entire community. Unsurprisingly, the majority of it is coming from energy use in buildings, both industrial, commercial, and residential. We had a couple climate interns this summer that helped with that greenhouse gas inventory, Colin and Matthew. And we're currently hosting focus group meetings. We just had one yesterday focused on energy use in buildings. And from there, we'll move on to developing initiatives that the county or the cities might want to implement, and then getting public input on those initiatives. So some of the ways that the county, that our region specifically is going to be impacted by climate change include wetter springs, more flooding events in the springs, drier summers, and higher heat days, more high heat days in the summer. The number of high heat days is expected to more than double in the next 30 years. So that sort of tells you what kind of health issues, what kind of financial issues our community is going to face because of those. And if you all would like to learn more about the Climate Action Plan, you can visit the website. We have a website that's hosted by GLC. That's greaterlafayetteclimate.com. That's got our newsletter. We have one newsletter out. We're about to come out with a second newsletter that's just updating the public on our efforts and where we're going, giving them information about their own impact and how they can improve that. We also have a community input survey that's currently up, and we're going to continue to have additional surveys, public meetings, that sort of thing, to get input from the public to make sure this is a community-centric plan for everyone. So if you all have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. This is just a general update on our efforts.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, you mentioned Lafayette Urban Ministry. I missed that. What was your comment on Lafayette Urban Ministry?
Wes Tillett is serving as our religious leader advisor, so he's helping us to plug in with religious leaders, and so they can learn how they can help serve the community. A lot of disenfranchised people are going to be impacted by these high heat days if they don't have central air, if they work outdoors. More high heat days is going to lead to health impacts, food scarcity, that sort of thing. So our churches are a strong part of serving those populations, and that's why we want to hear from them and also give them information that they can use.
Okay, thank you.
Can you say the name of the web address again? Is it greaterlafayetteclimate.com?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Nothing before that, like a GLC or anything, just,
No, that's the shortened URL.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, Commissioner FYI.
Good morning, everyone. Happy belated birthday to Kevin. So, is it a big one?
What's that?
Was it a big one?
It was a fairly big one.
Good.
They always are getting bigger and bigger. Tom, you ought to know.
Every year, they're
You're not
getting
that
bigger and
much
bigger, yeah, that's a good point.
70?
I'll start with the update in regard to
54.
ARPA funds. I think I have reported in the past
Well.
that there's been a ton of confusion in regard to how these funds can be expended. A lot of that came about in regard to the infrastructure portion of it. So the act actually states that any infrastructure had to be used specifically for broadband, water, or sewer projects only. There had been some communication out that it could be used for some other infrastructure projects. We had been in contact with Barnes and Thornburg, who will be helping us with the audit process. This will be stringently audited in the next 3 years as those funds are expended, and their advice to us was to wait until the infrastructure bill passed before we finalized our plan to make sure we weren't duplicating those efforts. As we all know, that passed on Friday. We are waiting on, now that that's passed, we have to wait on clarification of what exactly that means for that infrastructure. But we do expect to be moving forward very quickly. We're still having some meetings on exactly what that looks like for our plan, but everybody's advice seems to be go slow on this. So we're hoping to have a plan to be submitted before the council first part of next year. Any questions in regard to that? Okay. Commissioner Byers reports that there are about to be 55 second-generation oak trees planted at the new fairgrounds, so we're excited about that. They are oak trees, correct?
Some of them are.
Oh, okay. There are
different brands out there.
But they are second generation? Yes, okay. On Wednesday, December the 15th, we'll be having our department head lunch in this meeting, so we'll hope you'll add that to your calendars and join us for that event. That's at 11:30. Our enrollment meetings have kicked off yesterday. With that is our United Way campaign, so I'll hit you up one more time and say if you'd please consider a pledge for the county's campaign, that would be greatly appreciated. And last but not least, on Monday, December the 6th, Valley Oaks is hosting their annual mental health legislative forum in this room. That is a very well-attended event with a lot of information in regard to what we're doing as a community in regard to mental health issues, and then also proposed legislation to help with those items. So hope you can join us for that. I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions for Tom?
It is an evening event, so I'm thinking at 6 o'clock. It is 6 o'clock in this room. Yep. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi,
Mr.
Pat Harrington, prosecutor. I'm not here for the commissioners, FYI. I wanted to take an opportunity to discuss something with you. As you know, some of you know, Kevin and Kathy have been with me for a long time. Over the last 10 years, we've been working with the state to try to get funding for high-tech crime units, not just through Tippecanoe County, but through the state because of the important evidence we get. You know, in my career, we went from fingerprints to DNA to now digital forensics. I'm very pleased that as a result of our action, and especially with St. Joseph County Prosecutor Ken Cotter, Notre Dame, our high-tech crime unit, and Purdue University, a law was passed authorizing the expenditure of $3 million per year to prosecutors throughout the state for a high-tech crime unit. The statute said there could be up to 10 hubs. Each hub would have to apply for basically a grant or contract. And last week on Thursday, we received official notice that Tippecanoe County Prosecutor's Office will be one of those hubs. We'll receive $285,000 per year to assist in obtaining this evidence. We will provide services for up to, I believe, 10 other counties that are adjacent to us. We've been doing that anyway, as some of you have known from some of our cases. I want to let you know this. We'll be on the commissioner's agenda at the next meeting, but I want to let you know that because they issued a formal press announcement yesterday in Annapolis, and I've already gotten some inquiries. I want to express to you this again. You know, I think Tippecanoe County was #1 by the Chamber of Commerce. Is that correct? This is another thing that we can put in that first for Tippecanoe County. the collaboration between local law enforcement, the local agencies, Sheriff's Department, the local police departments, Purdue University, has put forth the platform that when both the Senate and the House reviewed this, because it's difficult to get money from the state, as most of us know, it was overwhelming. The bill passed only one negative vote out of 150. So this is, again, this is a recognition and a accomplishment for our community law enforcement, Purdue University, and I'll be on the January agenda with the actual nuts and bolts of it. But I just want to let you know first, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them, or I'll answer them afterwards. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pat. Any questions for Pat on that? Yes, congratulations. Okay, next meeting is the 14th of December, and any public comment? Seeing none, I'll take the last motion.
Make a
So
motion,
moved.
we adjourn.
Oh, second.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.